What if Mace Windu had survived his duel with Palpatine? The last thing Mace Windu remembered was pain. Searing, electric, soul-tearing pain. Lightning so intense, it seared through flesh and bone, blasting him through the shattered transparisteel of the Chancellor's office. Then, the fall. It should have ended there. But fate, the Force itself, had something else in store. He awoke not in the afterlife, but in agony, half buried under Juracrete rubble in the lower levels of Coruscant. His left arm was gone, severed by Anakin Skywalker. The once pristine Jedi Master was now a burned, broken silhouette of who he'd been. Blood crusted in patches on his face, and the phantom pain of his missing limb screamed with every breath. All around him was the dark, polluted hum of Coruscant's underworld. Blinking neon signs flickered through the smoke, and the chatter of alien dialects buzzed through the air like insects. He had fallen through hell and survived, but survival was only the beginning. Dragging himself through the labyrinthine corridors of level 1313, Windu stumbled across a small patrol of clones bearing the blue-striped armour of the 501st. His heart surged. Familiarity, perhaps safety. He emerged from the shadows, leaning against a rusted support pillar, using the Force to steady his bleeding. "You," one clone said, stepping forward, lowered in shock. "It's Master Windu. He's alive." Mace Windu nodded solemnly, his voice gravel. "Get me to the surface. I need to speak to the Council." But the clones didn't move. Instead, they raised their rifles. Windu's senses flared. The Force screamed with warning. His Shatterpoint ability, long honed to detect weakness and disruption, flared like wildfire. The moment stretched. Every micro gesture of the clones, their tensing fingers, flickers of hesitation, the glance between squad mates was a window into their minds. They would fire. They had orders. He was not a Jedi to them. He was a traitor. In a single motion, Windu drove forward, igniting a discarded electroblade. With his one remaining hand, the clones opened fire, but he was already upon them. He didn't fight like a Jedi anymore. Every strike was brutal, efficient, and final. He saw their weaknesses, shatter points in their armour, in their posture, in their morale, and exploited each one with devastating precision. The last clone tried to flee, but Mace reached out with the Force and pulled him back, crushing his blaster mid-air before slamming him unconscious against a wall. Breathing heavily, Windu stood amidst the fallen. His hand trembled. The Republic was gone. Slipping deeper into the underworld, Windu knew he couldn't survive long. Not in this state. Clone patrols swept every major junction, and the criminals who prowled the alleyways smelled blood. But then, a hand shot out from the shadows and dragged him into a derelict cantina. He slammed against the wall, ready to strike, until he saw the man before him. A clone, cloaked in grey, his face familiar, but not identical to those who just tried to kill him. "I'm not here to fight," the clone said, hands raised. "You don't know me, but I know you, General Windu." Windu's eyes narrowed. "You're one of them." "I was. Part of the Wolfpack. Master Plo Koon's Legion. Name's Varn. I deserted. Something didn't sit right. The war. It changed us." Windu's voice was hoarse. "They betrayed us. Why didn't you?" Varn looked down. "Because I found out about the chips. Rumours. ARC Trooper 5's. He uncovered something in the 501st. I tracked down the files, had mine removed. I didn't want to be their puppet anymore. Windu lowered his blade, but didn't relax. How do I know you're not lying? You don't, Varen said simply. But I saved your life just now. That counts for something. The clone helped him. Quietly, he produced a medpack from under his cloak and began to tend to Mace's wounds. As Varen worked, a flickering holoprojector hummed to life in the corner of the cantina. A hooded figure stood at its center. The voice boomed. The Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire for a safe and secure society. Windu's stomach turned. The Senate chamber roared with applause on the holo. That's him, Varen muttered. Palpatine. He's not the same. He's something else now. Windu watched in silence. This was the work of Darth Sidious, the work of the Sith, and it had begun. I need to reach someone, Windu said, rising slowly. Depa Billaba, my former Padawan. She'll know what to do. He reached out through a hidden Jedi frequency, but silence echoed back. Static. Every channel was dead. The purge had begun. She's not answering, Windu muttered. No one is answering, Varen replied. They're gone. All of them. Or hiding. I won't hide, Windu said. There's one who might help. A Jedi. He took the Barash vow. He swore to distance himself from the Order. Jedi Master Kirik Infila. If he's still alive, he might be our only chance. Varen looked away. I've got contacts. Underground smugglers. They'll get you off-world. But I'm not following you into a war, Jedi. Windu paused. I understand. Just get me to the stairs. But in truth, he did not intend to let the clone walk away. Not yet. There was a fracture around him, a shatter point, unlike any Windu had ever seen. This man could be the thread that unravelled everything, or held it together. He would not let that thread slip away. Varen stood at the window, peering through the broken blinds at the lower level traffic lanes. They'll lock down the whole sector. We need to move, now. Windu nodded. You said you had a ship. Hidden at the old Sector 9 hangar, North Corridor, level 412. Problem is, if the blockade is up, the entire quadrant's crawling with clones. Then we fight, Windu said simply. No more hiding. Varen looked at him. We won't make it far if we walk out the front door. Windu extended his senses, stretching his mind through the corridors and alleys of the Undercity. Patrols were sweeping fast, and multiple signals buzzed with encrypted orders. Then he found a thread, a shatter point, a flaw in the clone formation above them, a shift change, a 10-second window. We'll go now. Follow my lead. They moved like shadows through the skeletal corridors of Coruscant's forgotten arteries, maintenance tunnels and broken causeways where the only light came from flickering overhead panels. When clone chatter rang out behind them, Windu turned and used the force to collapse the ceiling above their pursuers, buying a few precious minutes. But the hangar was a different beast entirely. As they entered Hangar 412, it was clear the Empire had already moved in. 6 LAAT gunships hovered at the entrance, and 2 AT-RTs stood among rows of grounded transports. Dozens of Phase 2 clone troopers patrolled the perimeter. Varen swore under his breath. They've already impounded everything. We'll never get to the ship. You will, Windu said, stepping forward. Stay behind me. With a burst of speed, powered by the Force, Mace leapt into the open, igniting his violet blade mid-air. The clones shouted, forming ranks, but Windu was already upon them. With the Force flowing through him, he turned a shatter point in the squad's formation. A single, weak-minded commander hesitated. Windu struck the rifle from the leader's hand and drove a boot into his chest, sending him sprawling into his men and disrupting their aim. Blaster fire erupted. Windu weaved through bolts like a phantom, his blade deflecting some, his one-handed style sharp and relentless. Vader charged in behind, firing his DC-17s with deadly precision, dropping troopers who tried to flank the Jedi Master. Windu surged forward again, leaping to the nearest LAAT and plunging his saber into the pilot's canopy, shorting out the vessel. It spiraled into the hangar floor in a fiery heap, scattering nearby forces. Varn sprinted toward the Phantom Dart, a heavily modified G9 rigger freight nestled behind shipping crates. "I'll prep the guns." "Get it running," Windu shouted, vaulting down to cover him. As Varn disappeared into the ship, Windu turned back to face the reinforcements arriving. ARC troopers this time, and heavier fire support. With a growl of effort, Windu stretched out his hand, his only remaining one, and sent a force pulse rippling through the floor, cracking Durasteel and sending a squad of clones flying. He turned and sprinted aboard the freighter. "Go, go, go!" Yarn yelled from the gunner's ladder. The cockpit lit up with alarms. Engines were cold, shields offline. Imperial signals pinged them on encrypted channels, demanding identification. Windu dropped into the pilot's seat, flexing his fingers. In another life, he would have relied on muscle memory, on both hands, to fly. Now, he reached out, not with flesh and bone, but with the Force. The Phantom Dart roared to life. Engines blazed, sending the freighter lurching off the platform, just as missiles struck the ground beneath it. Windu wrestled with the controls through sheer will, guiding the ship up and into traffic lanes. "Shields are only at 40%, Varn called from the guns. "This thing wasn't meant for hot evac." "They'll have to do." Fighters screamed in from above. The sky had become a kill zone. Varn rotated the dorsal turret and unleashed a barrage of laser fire, clipping one of the fighter's wings and sending it spiraling into another. The debris scattered across the upper levels. Windu banked hard, weaving through Coruscant's narrow skyways and ascending fast. More fighters joined the pursuit. 4, then 8, now a dozen. Star destroyers loomed above like vultures, launching swarms of interceptors. "We're not going to break the blockade," Varn yelled. "We'll be vaporized before we make it to low orbit." Windu said nothing. His mind was focused, every thread of the Force guiding him through the chaos. Shatter points lit up before him, openings in the Imperial flight paths, blind spots in their formations, timing windows no computer could calculate. He sent the Phantom Dart into a barrel roll, dodging laser fire as the ship skimmed the underbelly of a passing freighter. Varn took down 2 more fighters, but the shields were flickering now. Another hit rocked the ship. "Shields gone!" Varn shouted. Hull integrity fell to 32%. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the cabin. A blast tore through the rear stabilizers. Windu gritted his teeth. One chance. They ascended past a Star Destroyer's engine array, flying straight through the exhaust wash. The heat was unbearable. Metal groaned. The navicomputer beeped. Coordinates locked. "Hold on!" Windu shouted, reaching out with the Force to stabilize the damaged engines. The stars began to elongate. A fighter locked on behind him, firing. And then hyperspace swallowed them. Silence. Starlines stretched across the viewport, their ship shuddering from the strain, but intact. Varn slumped in the seat, sweat dripping from his brow. Windu closed his eyes and exhaled. He sat cross-legged in meditation, struggling to center himself. The force swirled around him, but it felt clouded, scared, like him. Every breath was a reminder of the fire in his lungs, the void where his arm once was, and the betrayal that shattered everything he had known. Varn stood near the cockpit, arms crossed. "We'll reach Aldaline in 2 hours. You sure this Jedi's alive?" "If he isn't," Windu replied, eyes still closed, "then I do not know where to turn." The River Moon was a serene place, bathed in perpetual twilight, with massive waterfalls pouring from floating plateaus and canyons carved over millennia. Windu had never visited Aldaline, but he had heard of it when Kirak Infila had taken the brash vow and vanished from galactic affairs. If anyone had survived the purge, it would be him. The ship touched down near the Temple of Riverstones, hidden beneath a moss-laden cliff. Windu and Varn approached in silence. The force stirred faintly. At the summit of the cliff, a tall figure awaited them, broad-shouldered, robed in grey, and carrying a massive, double-bladed lightsaber across his back. "You shouldn't have come," Kirak Infila said, voice calm but heavy. "This is not my war." "I did not come for war," Windu answered. "I came for help." Kirak looked past Windu to the clone beside him and frowned. "And yet, you've brought the war with you." "His name is Varn," Windu replied. "He is not our enemy." "No clone is," Kirak said. "But that didn't stop them from slaughtering our brothers and sisters." Varn stiffened, but remained silent. Windu stepped forward, struggling slightly with each step. "I know of your vow. I know why you took it. But if you remain here, in silence, there may be no Jedi Order left to return to. You wanted penance, Kirak, but this is surrender." The words cut through the air like a vibroblade. Kirak didn't respond at first. Then quietly, he turned. Windu followed. Inside, waterfalls cascaded down the stone walls. Gentle winds stirred the hanging vines that decorated the inner sanctum. It was a place of peace, untouched by war, untouched by the Empire. Kirak stood before a worn hollow statue of the ancient Jedi Master Tosan. "I took the Barash vow because I let my anger consume me," he said, "because I brought death to innocence. I do not want to fall again." Windu stepped beside him. "If you do nothing, then those deaths mean nothing. Your penance will become an excuse." The silence lingered. Then Kirak slowly reached over his shoulder and drew his massive saber from his back. "I will come," he said. "But if I fall again, you will be the one to stop me." Windu nodded. Agreed. As the three prepared to leave, a strange stillness came over the moon. The birds grew quiet. The winds stilled. The waterfalls, once roaring in the distance, seemed somehow softer. The force recoiled. Varn was the first to see it, the black silhouette descending from the sky, carried by the shriek of engines and the shrill scream of descending fighters. A Star Destroyer emerged through the clouds, blocking out the twin suns above. Its belly opened, and a single, solitary, Lambda-class shuttle began its descent. Windu stared upward, heart tightening. No, he whispered. They felt him before they saw him. A presence, a hunger in the Force. When the shuttle touched down and its ramp hissed, the figure that stepped forward was cloaked in black, face hidden beneath a helmet of matte obsidian. His mechanical breathing echoed through the jungle like a funeral drum. Darth Vader had arrived. Drop the scenarios you would like to see in the comments, and I will pick one every week for Fan Friday. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.